High Level is a full CRM and marketing platform, and I've used some of the best in the SaaS industry.
You know who made it.
And we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, as well as our guest platforms. She is on LinkedIn and Facebook. Heidi Solomon-Orlick is our guest. Can't wait to bring her on and talk about some hot topics. So I'm going to get right into it. Of course, I want to thank our sponsors. First of all, Cherry Assistant. Couldn't do it without you. Layla, she's here in the background, helping with the comments, reading all these, making sure you're seeing them. Erica as well. Erica's not with Cherry Assistant, but she's also helping with the comments. But Layla helped put together all the materials. And I also work with Cherry Assistant on video reproduction and a whole lot of other things. You'll see at intermission their whole menu of things they can offer so that you can start to delegate. Delegating is extremely important. But we're going to be talking about other important topics as well today too. But before we get there, you can just click that little QR code with your camera, or we can drop the link in the comments so that you can go talk to Cherry Assistant about what you're working on to see if there's anything that you can pass off to someone who's able to support you in what you're doing and help you scale your business, and also want to send you over to High Level. Get a 30-day free trial with High Level when you use my affiliate link. It's reveting.com/High Level. If you're listening to this later on podcast, we can also drop that in the chat. But High Level, we're really going into High Level in my coaching program. We're helping people create their masterclass landing pages, funnels, automations, and also their promotional images to get people to their masterclasses. So would love to have you there and teach you how to build in High Level as well. We're now offering High Level support. So if that's something you need, reach out. We would love to help you. And if you're not getting the newsletter, make sure you head over to reveting.com/newsletter and get the newsletter so that you can get the recap of the show every week and keep up with what we're doing in the Women Wave community. And I'm proud to say today's guest is in the Women Wave community. So without further ado, welcome back to the show, Heidi Solomon-Orlick. Thank you for coming on last minute. I know I called you as a reschedule because, people's schedule, people have to travel, things happen, and you were able to step in. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. That's what we do. As
Yeah.
women, we support each other. So actually moved around a doctor's appointment, which, but you know what, girl, when you call, the answer is always going to be yes.
Oh, Heidi, thank you. That means so much. Rise, sister, rise. We got to lift as we rise. I couldn't do it without you. And it's healing to hear that, because we all know the cliches out there that we won't get into right now. But what we do want to get into, Heidi, is we want to learn about you. I know you've been on the show, I think maybe even 3 times. I can't even keep track now. We gave away your book several times. You have a new book now we all want to hear about. And I'm going to put the 2 minutes on the clock. You know the drill. We want to know the real you, the stuff we can't find on LinkedIn, and also a little bit about that book too.
Yeah. So let's see a little bit about me. I grew up in California. I spent over 4 decades in marketing, advertising, direct marketing, and of course, professional sales. I have 3 kids. We had a reverse household. My husband was a stay-at-home dad for 15 years while I had the privilege of traveling the world internationally to do business. So I've been very blessed with having a successful career in sales. So I have 3 boys. 2 are now married, and I'm expecting my first grandchild, which is really exciting, in May of this year. So CEO of Girls Who Sell, we're going on our 5th year, which I'm really proud of, with the mission of democratizing professional sales and building the largest pipeline of diverse early stage female sales talent. So we work with high schools and colleges and nonprofit organizations positioning sales as a viable career choice. You mentioned Heels to Deals. So yeah, I'm really proud of that book. It's won several awards and amplifies the voices of diverse women around the world. And I just published my first children's book, which is a bucket list item for me called I Have a Voice, a book of listening, which teaches children ages 4 to 9 how to listen to, honor, and kind of listen to, honor, and use their voice for good in the world, and really have an understanding of their inner voice and how important it is to listen to that. So yeah, a little bit about me.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing, Heidi. Let me get that clock off of here. And AP, I see you in the comments. I would love to hear from folks. Did you watch the Super Bowl? And what did you think about it? In particular, what did you think about the ads? But before we get into that, I just want to acknowledge you, Heidi. I can't believe you gave up a doctor's appointment to be here. I know how
I did
so much.
That's okay.
I appreciate that.
It was a dentist appointment, so this was a really good excuse to reschedule that.
I love that. Appreciate it. I mean, I don't know if I should be snapping or like going like this. You should go to the doctor.
I know. It's okay.
But yeah, no, I really appreciate it. Erica, I see you. She says, I only watched the Puppy Bowl. I've not. Andrew says, but I heard it was spicy. Yeah, and we're not really going to get into halftime. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl ads, and particularly the Novartis Super Bowl ad, as well as cancer awareness. And we have the ad that we can show here in a little bit. But before we do you want to kick us off on this topic, Heidi?
Yeah. So the Super Bowl this year exceeded all expectations in terms of viewership. I've seen numbers of anywhere from 126 million to close to 128 million viewers. And a huge percentage of those viewers were women. Last year, if we look at last year's numbers, there were 58.8 million actual female viewers, which was up 9% from the year before. And the data that I found is that 62% of the viewers were female. So I don't know. No matter which data you pull or the real numbers, because they're all pretty close, that's a lot of women. And I think that it demonstrates the female buying power. Marketers, smart marketers who are committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion are recognizing that women vote with their wallets, and that we have a huge amount of buying power. And so they're starting to market to us on the world's biggest stages.
They sure are. And this isn't the first year they've done that, Heidi. I remember last year on Deconstructing Data having a conversation about 2024, this happening too. So it's just like, every year we're seeing the buying power of women, especially through Super Bowl ads, increasing. And there was something special about the Novartis ad in particular, which is why we have it in the name of the topic. And I want to show it to the audience, because selfishly I want to dance to the music again. It's like so good. But could you tell everyone a little bit about like why that one in particular stood out to you?
So there were a lot of ads actually that were targeted to women. Nike is back on the stage, and it's been a long time. And the ad that they introduced during the Super Bowl, which was a bit controversial, actually. I know we're not going to go there today, but the Nike ad and the Dove ads, which were both really female focused, were rated the two top ads actually of the Super Bowl. I don't know if you saw, Jesse, the ad about flag football, but that was also fabulous. But the Novartis ad in particular, one, I am a cancer survivor, so to see breast cancer, kind of go mainstream and beginning to normalize conversations around breast health and breast awareness, I think is, amazing. And Novartis really flipped the script. And, we all know those boring pharmaceutical ads that, spend 10 seconds talking about the product and another 50 seconds talking about all the side effects. This Novartis ad really was in my personal opinion, incredibly impactful. And early awareness prevents, saves lives. It does. So yeah.
Yeah.
I was so proud of Novartis and what they did. I mean,
it's amazing. I just tagged them in the comments so they know we're talking about them and let them know.
Yeah. I mean, some women, are like, oh, it was clickbait, and we'll show the ad and oh, really was targeted towards men. Maybe, but you know what? Our partners are also very influential and in terms of I don't know, women's care, assuring that the women in their lives are taking good care of themselves. So yeah, maybe it was a little bit of clickbait, but you know what? I'm all about it. And if you get the message around early detection and breast awareness and breast health out in the market, I don't know how that could be bad.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? Like, women are beautiful.
And this is, so
we dress this way. Like, I like to buy bras and I like to buy lingerie. Like, there's no surprise in that. Like, it does target us as well. Like, I'm a straight woman, but I still like it too.
Yeah, and you know what? These topics like stop, right? Like menopause and breast health and getting our periods. And you know what? It's time that we start normalizing that instead of like talking about these things hush hush in women's groups. And so I love that they set the bar. And they used influencer marketing in a very powerful way as well, right? So
definitely. I'm trying to see who this LinkedIn user is saying hi to us. If we see you as LinkedIn user, it means your LinkedIn privacy settings are set so that it's not sharing data with third parties like StreamYard that we're streaming from today. So yeah, if you just want to let us know your name, then we'd say hello to you too. But hi anyways. But we're talking about this ad. And I'm just going to go ahead and show it to you because then you'll see what we're talking about here. But it's in the Adweek article. You can visit it yourself. Haley Steinfeld wants your attention in Novartis Super Bowl ad. But if you scroll down in it, here is the ad. Let's go ahead and watch it.
I see you looking at me. I see you looking at me.
Look at that. You get lift, you get height, you get power.
Your attention, please. I steal the show. And now you know I'm gonna keep on dressing so you can keep on glancing. It ain't my fault that I was made this way. I see you looking at me.
Really?
Let's go. Watch me now. Attention now. Let's go. Watch me now. Attention now. Let's go. Attention.
Let's start paying attention to breasts when it matters the most. Early detection for breast cancer is a game changer and why I'm able to be here today. So let's get more women screened than ever before. Go to yourattentionplease.com and take the first step.
Oh my God, it makes me cry. It just is it's so powerful. And maybe just because I am not breast cancer survivor, but skin cancer survivor. If you go to the website, it is phenomenally well done. There's a lot of information about breast cancer, but what I also really like how they structured it is they focused on different generations. Sometimes we think, okay, breast cancer awareness, we really don't need to even go and get checked until we're 35 or 40 or 50 even, right? Like
Yeah,
the
and not
number
only
50.
that, but like they looked at different breast sizes. Like I saw the itty bitty titty committee, hello, and then we
Right.
saw big old knockers.
I'm all about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Itty bitty titty committee, which is awesome. But then they have like, they're really starting to start this conversation earlier. So they have a whole section for young women, 40 and under, right? And I know a lot of women in their 20s that got breast cancer, and had to have full mastectomies. They may have had a genetic predisposition towards breast cancer. So it's really important. I'll tell you, had I known, and I just draw a parallel with skin cancer, had I known at 20 and had the awareness of the impact that being in the sun all the time. I grew up in California. I was a surfer girl, right? Like I rode horses. I was always out in the sun. I think I would have been a lot more, cautious and worn sunscreen at an earlier age. Perhaps that would have prevented me at, in my 60s, having major surgery on my face, right? Same thing with breast cancer, right? Like, I think these conversations are really important to start them earlier. And women should be getting checked as early as their 20s if they're at high risk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And such an important message. And I love that ad. It was so impactful, but it also is just, like you were saying earlier, such a great example of a lot of the ads we were seeing. I tagged Nike and Dove in the chat too.
Yeah.
That you mentioned. I went back later and watched theirs. But I know.
I love the flag football ad too, which just showed, the message of these ads though is all about female empowerment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And during a time when D&I initiatives are being rolled back, a lot of a lot of things around women, right? In particular, us being able to make decisions about our bodies. I don't want to get too political, but at a time when that is happening, I think the brands that are all about women's empowerment and are still going to lean in to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives ultimately are going to win, and they are going to win the share of female buying power and our wallet. I don't know about you, but if you look at, for instance, Target and Costco, after some of the rollback of D&I, Target pulled back some of their corporate initiatives, and Costco didn't. In fact, they leaned into it, and their stock is showing it, right? So women, we have a say at the polls, but we also have a say in retail as well.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, before we wrap up this first topic, which is Novartis Super Bowl ad and also cancer awareness, could you sort of leave the audience with a message about screening and anything else? I mean, you've gone through this.
Yeah.
You need to hear it. Everyone else needs to hear it. So tell us.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you have a genetic predisposition, or you feel something wrong, right? Be sure that you're going to your doctor, to your OBGYN, that you're checking your breasts on a regular basis. If you feel any lumps or anything, if there's discoloration or anything that seems off, go have it checked. Just go have it checked. Go and do your annual mammograms. I think it's incredibly important, and it will save lives. The data, 6 million women who were watching that ad of the, let's say, 60 million, because 1 in 10 women will get breast cancer in their lifetime, right? And
Wow, Heidi.
so 6 million women watching that ad on Super Bowl Sunday will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Let's get it diagnosed early so that so that it saves lives.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, thank you for that message. We don't ever talk about that on this show, so it ties in really nicely, and especially with all the importance with what's going on in the world today. I think it's important for us as women to step back and recognize our buying power and realize that we don't need to be divided. We can be united, because both sides of the aisle right now are targeting us in their ads, in their activity, in the political issues. It's women's issues that we hear about that are the reasons people are voting. They want to control us. They want to control our body. They want to target us. They want us to buy. So we have power. So we get to heal our witch wound, come together, be united. If you want to, heal that with us, we have the Women Wave community. You can definitely join that. It's a free WhatsApp community. Heidi's in it. Love that with Heidi.
It's awesome.
Yes. She's in there. And anyway, let's get into our second topic, which is similarly related. Women drive sales, and are your ads speaking to them? So we just talked about the importance of all this. So now let's look inward at our own businesses, our own employers, and see how are we targeting women in our advertisements. Can you kick us off here?
Yeah, and I think we probably can combine topic 2 and topic 3, because I think that they really very closely relate. So maybe we flip the script a little bit since and start with the economic influence, and then maybe move back as to why it's important for brands to have female representation in their ads, or even create ads that are specific for the female audience. So I pulled some data. It's okay. I'm a bit of a data geek, which is a little unusual, I think, for a salesperson. But so not to overwhelm everybody with data, but I've seen numbers that women control an estimated anywhere from 21 trillion to 31.8 trillion in worldwide spending. That's trillion with a T. That is a lot of buying power. We also are expected to control 75% of discretionary spending in the household in the next 5 years. This is 2025 data, right? So in the next 5 years. And then we're increasingly making economic decisions for our families, right? In the US specifically, so that's kind of worldwide data. In the US, women control or influence 85% of consumer spending. This was an interesting stat. We purchase over 50% of traditional male products. So even if you have a product that is sort of male focused, like let's say deodorant, or that is considered a traditional male product, women are still either buying those or making the decisions to buy those. So it makes sense not only for marketers who have female-oriented products, but for companies who have male products to also focus on the female audience and our buying power, because we're making those decisions and buying those products, which I find absolutely fascinating. And we control approximately 11 trillion in assets, a number that is expected to grow to 30 trillion by 2030. So that's just some of the data that I pulled. So who runs the world? Despite what we might be seeing, my vote is women.
It's the truth. Who runs the world? Girl.
Who runs the world?
Who runs this mother? Yeah, I know. So we're looking inward at our own advertising. Like, are you being exclusive? Are you being inclusive? What do your advertisements look like? B2B is typically pretty boring and pretty blue. So maybe it's something that if that's you or your employer need to look inward on and do some tests and see who actually is buying and who has influence. Because a lot of the time when we're selling B2B, there's a committee. It's not always one person. But yeah, I don't know. It's a really important topic. And also we see it in the B2C side too, like women, like you were talking about. Was it pre-show that you mentioned something about women even have influence over buying men's products?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
Which is, what was so fascinating to me. Let me go back to that stat, but that women purchase over 50% of traditional male products, right? So just take that in as a marketer, right? As a senior executive of a organization. At the end of the day, targeting women is not only makes sense and is the right thing to do, but it's going to be good for business, no matter what type of product you have.
Yeah, it's profitable to be inclusive in business. So there's really no reason for all of this DEI. So we've talked a little bit about the economic influence of women. We've talked about women's sales and are your ads speaking to them? Anything else you would add on either of these two topics, Heidi?
Just, I guess just want to do a PSA is in that I think that companies who abandon their diversity, equity, and inclusion focus and efforts are going to get hurt from a sales perspective. And I'll just reiterate that, women are socially conscious and they are going to align with brands that align with their values. And the brands that speak to, empower, and support women are the ones that are ultimately going to win.
Yeah. I mean, that says it in a nutshell. Thank you so much for sharing that, Heidi. And I obviously couldn't agree more. And if you didn't catch those two topics, make sure to go back in the recording to catch them. But in the meantime, we have a quick message from our sponsors. And before we get to that, Heidi, I want to ask you about delegating because I know in my work history, especially when I worked for women, they had a hard time delegating. And I felt like the men I worked for were so happy to give me their access, to give me the ability to post as them, email as them, do all the things as them. Whereas with the trust and it was just harder working with women. And obviously what I'm getting to is an ad for Cherry Assistant and delegating more. But honestly, part of it does come to this topic too of women, we need to rise, we need to come together. And part of that is delegating. I mean, would you have a message on delegating?
Oh, it was one of the hardest things for me to do. It's still hard for me to do. And I don't know if it's just because I'm a recovering control freak or I think a lot of it stems from women are fearful of delegating tasks in the workplace because it might be viewed negatively by especially their male counterparts or senior executives, right? So we feel like we have to do everything, we have to control everything, and it's got to be our work. But at the end of the day, particularly as I've leaned in and moved over to full-time entrepreneurship, delegation is absolutely key. You just can't keep all the balls in the air and do everything and be effective in business. So the tasks that you're not good at it's just so easy to shift over to an organization like Cherry assistants and have them pick up some of that slack, which frees up your time to do the really important work of marketing and sales and branding and all the other stuff that it takes to run a successful business.
100%. You summed it up so well. And I can't lie. I had a hard time delegating myself too, because I'm a perfectionist and
me too.
I want things done my own way. But yeah, Cherry Assistant made it really easy for me, and they help other businesses too. So here, check out this quick ad. We'll be right back after this 1-minute message.
This is Mike, also known as Clean with Mike on Twitter. Mike hired a virtual assistant from Cherry Assistant about 2 years ago. Now he has a $50K per month business fully managed by a remote operator in South Africa. His VA from South Africa does the following: closing inbound leads on the phone, Yelp and Google and Facebook, manages his CRM and Gulf High Level, deals with rescheduling, cancellations, any issues, hires and manages the cleaners, and sends them daily reports and updates. Mike has a fully cash flowing business managed by a remote operator for only $8 an hour. You can also hire a US equivalent worker in the Philippines, South Africa, Latin America for a fraction of the cost with Cherry Assistant. Be like Mike and grow your business with offshore staff.
Okay, so here's their menu I was talking about earlier. They help with lead generation, CRM management, prospecting assistant, sales presentation preparation. So like proposals, data entry, customer support, project management, and so much more. You can scan the code if you're watching live or if you're on podcast later on. Just reach out to me and I can help connect you. You can go to Jessie@reveting.com is my email address.
Be like Mike. And I'll tell you, in my 35-year career in the business process outsourcing industry, obviously I worked with a lot of Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies that outsourced a lot of their work, right? Customer service, tech support, in sales, both inbound, outbound, lead generation. And I have done work in all of those markets that Cherry is doing work in today, including South Africa. Super keen on South Africa, as well as Philippines and Caribbean, Latin America market. So I got to tell you, you can definitely get equivalent quality work at a fraction of the cost. So I'm a testimonial to that. I sold it for 35 years.
Amazing. I didn't even realize that. Well, thank you. Yeah, you mentioned South Africa and the Philippines. So everyone I'm working with is, Layla, she's here helping. She's in South Africa, and then people in the Philippines as well. So they speak great English. It's like, it's so easy to work with them. And plus Cherry Assistant helps me find people who have the skills I need. So I'm not out there like searching for people. And it's just been a really great, seamless experience. And honestly, I'm scaling a marketing agency now because of it. So we're providing marketing services where not only are we going live, but now more importantly, our customers go live. And so they're helping us post their live streams, recapture their video clips. Of course, we put more effort into editing their video clips than our own, but we do still do the Wednesday post-production clips because of course we got to capture and summarize a lot of what Heidi's saying and everyone else is coming on here with such great conversations. But also need to make sure I want to mention High Level. So woo, I don't even remember what ad that is. But I love the like, woo. I was just going to talk about it for a second because High Level is right now my SaaS. So what I mean by that, and let me change the QR code on the screen if you're watching here live, but you can also go to reveting.com/high level if you're listening on podcast. But I was mentioning earlier that in my group coaching program, some of the clients are putting together their own masterclass funnels, automations, and then promotional emails to promote their masterclasses, as well as promotional posts to promote their masterclasses. So we're doing an all-inclusive training on helping them have their first free masterclass for the most part. And later on, they can start charging for it. But all of that is built in High Level. And so I have a couple different ways students are working with me on High Level. Some will just go to app.reveting.com and they get their own account. So app.revening.com is just high level white labeled. So it looks like my SaaS. So that's what I was talking about earlier. Like I'm a SaaSpreneur, but really it's just a white labeled CRM and marketing automation platform that I get to call app.revening.com. And if you sign up for my coaching program, you get access to it too. And I train you on it as well. But you can also use my affiliate link and just go sign up for yourself and become a SaaSpreneur yourself. You don't have to resell all of the services, but maybe you just resell like their, chatbot or something, for example. It's just like a full white label service. But I don't know. I love high level. If it's something you're interested in, then reach out to me. We're talking about it 3 days a week in my coaching program. If you sign up for the 30-day trial, let me know. Email me at jessie@revening.com and I will give you 30 days free in my Taking Up Space program, because it's to my advantage to make sure that the platform works for you. So I want to train you and make sure that you are happy with it in those 30 days. So I digress. Let's get into this fourth topic, Heidi, which is it's profitable to have DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we're switching gears here. Can you kick us off?
Yeah. Listen, I think there's, been a lot of conversation around diversity, equity, inclusion, especially lately. I could sit here and spout off a lot of statistics about the power of diversity, equity, inclusion. You look at it from a sales perspective, obviously, women in general outperform their male counterparts in just about every measurable criteria that you can think of. But I don't believe that there's any argument anymore of whether diversity, equity, and inclusion improves business, right? It's good for business, just is. The question is, with the current administration and I don't know, a lot of these initiatives being put on to the back burner, as an executive, whether you're a sales leader, whether you're a CEO, whether you're, in HR, what are you going to do? What you have a choice to make, right? In terms of the degree that you are going to continue to support diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And people are watching, especially women, right? Of what decisions that you make. I love my son, my middle son, who is part of the LGBTQ plus community. So I'm clearly very concerned about him and what's happening in the world these days. He works for a wonderful company, ClassPass. And he went to his first corporate retreat. It was actually their SKO. And hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying this, but he posted a picture. He sent me a picture of him and his teammates, and it was just like a picture of their badges. And on all of the badges, they had people's pronouns, not titles. Didn't have VP of marketing or director of sales. It had Justin Orlick, he, him. That was it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome, right? Like, that's a company that is like, you know what? Regardless of what's happening in the world, we are still going to support diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And I think it's a choice. I do. So I don't know what to say about it. I just talked earlier about buying power. But I think the companies, that abide by fair hiring practices and continue to support diverse teams are, in the long run, going to continue to, drive revenue and be the most successful companies in the world.
Heidi, I absolutely agree. And for those who, are just now tuning in on YouTube and haven't been paying attention, have been living under a rock, the Trump administration has basically intensified efforts to dismantle DEI. And so there was an executive order. It was titled Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity, which is directed all federal agencies to terminate DEI-related programs and enforce civil rights laws against private sector DEI practices. So I'm not okay with this. I, don't mean to get like directly political, but that's why we're talking. That's why it's on the agenda that people are talking about it, because this executive order.
Yeah, I mean, so the one thing about that is that they are not mutually exclusive. Just because you're engaged in diversity hiring practices does not mean that you're not doing merit-based hiring at the same time. So to me, it's like, why does it have to be an either or? I'm someone that loves to live in the world of and so I think it can be, yes, you can be an organization that has diversity, equity, and inclusion policies and practices, and also is focused on hiring the best person for the job. Jesse, I think we lost you. Can't hear you.
Sorry. Yeah. And
There
I
you
just
go.
wanted to point out a few brands who are still standing by their DEI policies. So I pulled up this ABC News article, Costco being one of them.
And I mentioned that earlier. You see Target stock is diving and Costco stock is going through the roof.
Yep. JP Morgan Chase. Thanks for
JP
making
Morgan.
me proud. So you can go read that article. I dropped it in the chat. But, there are some brands leading the way on this. And this is really an opportunity for those brands to stand out and show us that, like, you know what? I don't just like do these things because I'm wishy-washy. I do these things because I know they're right. So we're seeing those brands who are kind of stepping back on DEI right now. And we see you. And with our buying power, we see you.
We see you. And yeah. And
Yes.
it goes back to the earlier conversation that, with our buying power, women are going to align with brands that align with their values, right? And I know that not everybody leans left, and not, that there's a whole group of individuals that believe in, the policies that are and executive orders that are being put in place are the right thing to do. And I respect that, right? Like, I'm all about trying to build bridges and understand. But I don't know. I think that the numbers speak for themselves in terms of the power of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And at the end of the day, particularly women who hold that, those practices are important to them.
Yeah.
We're going to vote with our wallets. We will.
Sure. Vote with our wallets. I saw when you dropped that in the Women Wave community the other day, and I was confused for a minute because I'm like, wait, what? Like, didn't the other side used to say that? Like, I was kind of confused, but then I had to think about it. I'm like, but look at the price of eggs. Yeah. Vote with your wallets. So anything else on those topics? I mean, I know there's so much more we could get into. And if there's anything from the audience, I mean, we want to hear from you. I see there's 3 of you on YouTube. We've got 1 of you on Facebook and a few of you still on LinkedIn. So I know it's lunch hour for some of you. It's still early morning for others. Wednesday's a daytime show now. And, we're talking real topics. We're talking the hot topics. We're talking boobies and we're talking politics. So if you have any opinions on those, this is the place to share them. No judgment. And if you want to,
yeah, I mean, this is a free, free space. I mean, we're not,
Yeah.
there's, when you look at these issues, they're, these are difficult conversations. And, there's probably some truth and right and wrong to each side. Right. And I think the important thing right now is just to sort of, be kind to each other. And two, take the time to really understand each other, right? Like I am just all about building bridges right now. And I think that when we do take the time to listen to each other, just not just listen, but truly hear what the other person is saying and why they believe what they do, that's how we're going to begin to heal the world. Because right now there's so much divisiveness and the world is so disconnected. It's not healthy, right? It's just not healthy. So I think as employers and, groups like, the Women's Wave community and other really fabulous, groups that I'm a part of, we need to be able to effectively facilitate some of these uncomfortable and difficult conversations to be able to heal the world. Because it's affecting productivity. People are just exhausted, both sides, right? Like
I have to say, that's what I love about the Women Wave. And that's what I loved about our retreat last year is we had women from all different religious backgrounds, all different political backgrounds. And we still, there was a full moon. So we kind of, we came together, like we all together, like we all were spiritual in one way or another. And that's okay. So we're like, the moon is feminine and we're united under it, whether we're united under anything else. And that's kind of stuck with us. Even that was June and, we're in February now, but we don't need to be divided. We can find things, especially in business and like helping people out and helping see things in people that they don't see in themselves and lift them up. In the community, I'm constantly sharing things I'm learning about being a TikTok affiliate and selling things there. Or if there's anything I can do to help people go live, even though they're not in my coaching program, like we just want to help each other. And that's sort of the whole gist of it. Plus, most of us are on LinkedIn. So we share a lot of our LinkedIn content, support each other's LinkedIn content there. But would love to have you join as well if you're listening to this. But we have a guru of the week. And this guru of the week is in the Women Wave community. I'm going to go ahead and pull her up. Could you tell us why you chose, drumroll, Lauren Brownstone, Heidi?
Yeah. So, I think Lauren, we've been like following each other for a while, but I really got to get to know her better in the Women Wave community. And what I love about Lauren is her positivity, her infectious positivity, and she is all about amplifying women. I can always count on Lauren to like or comment on a post, which is great, right? Like so many people just scroll by and scroll by and scroll by, but it's for us creators that take the time to put together content and put our leave ourselves vulnerable and put ourselves out there. People that actually engage with your content are they're gold. So I appreciate that about Lauren. And she's, she just recently reached out to me through LinkedIn and messaging as well. It's like, hey, I've been following you and I love your content. But now I really want to get to know you even better. Let's schedule a call. And so, her proactiveness really meant a lot to me as well. So, that's why I, wanted to highlight and amplify Lauren. I hope she's on. If not, I hope she listens.
I just tagged her in the comments, so hopefully she'll see it later on. If not, we can tell her in the Women Wave community as well too. If anyone's listening and they're in the Women Wave, let Lauren know. But I want to shout out Lauren too, because Lauren is in the Taking Up Space group coaching program. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been working on that masterclass funnel, which includes couple landing pages, forms, all the marketing stuff, highly technical. We're setting automations, we're setting up domains. And she's taking it on like a champ, and she's doing all the right steps. She's not skipping over things. She's taking her messaging very seriously. And I honestly am so excited for her masterclass because like I'm just helping her with the marketing piece, but she's creating all the value that she's going to be sharing. So Lauren, feel free to like promote your masterclass here in the chat. And I can't wait to see it. And I can't wait to promote it too. And just hats off to you because you are climbing and you're lifting as you're climbing. And it was an honor to have her at the retreat last year too. Looking forward to doing another retreat in October, we hope. And Georgia's the top of the list right now. Although I have to say, Heidi, did you see the conversation in Women Wave where it's like, going out into the middle of nowhere in Georgia may not feel safe for some women, and that's okay too. And I just didn't realize that. But yeah, that's just unfortunately where we are these days. We are still looking into it. Would love to open it up to sponsors. If we could do it, say in New York or Chicago or LA or Miami, we would. But the biggest hurdle with throwing a retreat that I learned last year is the upfront cost for everything. And this is a time for women to go deep on themselves. So we're really pouring into them with not only a beautiful location, but photography, videography, giving them the chance to speak to a group and get video footage of themselves speaking. We're going to have nutrition, as well as health coaching, and just so much more. Sound healing. I digress. If you want in the Women Wave community, join Heidi, Lauren, and I. We're all in there. But this has been a really great episode.
I love the sound healing thing, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
I had never heard of it until you mentioned it in the community, and I checked it out, and I was like, that's super cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I learned about it when I was stressed out. What was I doing at that time? I was a co-CEO of a company, and I was also a mom, and it was the pandemic, and we were doing kindergarten at home. And I just found sound healing was that thing that calmed my nervous system. And there was a place locally. So I would just go and you lay down and then they play it. And when you go in person, it's way different than listening to it on Spotify. So I just really loved it. So when we had that first retreat, I'm like, I have to make sure other people can experience this in person. So we hired a sound healer. And then since then, I'm like, I'm just going to get certified in sound healing, get my own sound bowls. So now I'll be coming with my own sound bowl. So we'll be able to do like endless sound baths at the retreat. So I'm pretty excited.
I love that.
Yeah. And next week, we have another awesome episode planned with Colin Strachan and Doug Flagg. Hope you both can join us, Lauren and Heidi, but also everyone listening. We have another episode planned. Make sure that you're tuning in here. If not here, we're on like all the other channels. So whatever your favorite channel is, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, we are there trying to diversify our presence. But with that, we are ending. And I just want to make sure we leave room for you, Heidi, to tell audience members where they can reach you and just plug your book one more time or anything else that we can do to support you.
Oh, well, wow, that was a really fast hour. So I'm so grateful that you reached out and gave me the opportunity to share some of my thoughts about some of these really important topics. I think we need to talk about this stuff more. So the fact that you were brave enough to facilitate some of this conversation, I think says a lot about you and who you are, Jessie. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Anyone who might want to connect with me, best way is LinkedIn. I'm pretty responsive, although sometimes my my DM is a bit of a dumpster fire, but please reach out and I will definitely accept your invite. And if you have a child whose ages 4 to 9, although I have had some people send some pictures of their 3-year-olds and even 2-year-olds, reading the book. But please go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or wherever books are sold and purchase I Have a Voice, a book of listening. It's really an important book, teaching children to honor their inner voice and how to use their voice for good in the world. And I think, in today's world, it's super important. And I have 2 more children's books that are going to be released as well, that are going to tackle some other diverse D&I type topics like connectivity. My next book is Just a Dot, I Think Not, a book of connection. And then I have my 3rd book, which is More Than Pretty, a book about inner beauty. So look for those as well. But right now, I Have a Voice, a book of listening is available for purchase.
And
if you buy it and you read it with your kid, please send me pictures, because it's what gets me up in the morning. He'll love it.
Oh, I love that. Well, yeah, it's on Amazon, right?
Yeah, I'll shoot you up the link. Yeah,
Yeah, and
Amazon,
drop
Barnes
it in
and
the chat.
Noble, everywhere. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, if you have a link, if you could drop in the chat too for anyone else listening who wants to buy it. I would love to. I have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, but I'm sure those both still appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I didn't know. I'm sure they will. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Heidi. I can't thank you enough for rearranging your schedule. Make sure you reschedule that doctor's appointment, please.
Oh, I do. I have
Okay, good.
It's
It's still
date on the calendar. Thanks for giving me a good excuse.
Yes, thank you so much for joining, because it was the Super Bowl last weekend and this was perfect timing to talk about this. So I feel like it was all just meant to be. So thank you so much, Heidi, for getting into it and lifting as you rise and sharing your books and all of your knowledge with us. But until next time, I hope everyone has a great Wednesday.